So one of the main things that really shits me is that there's this, like, especially with socials, is when people are like, the hustle and grind isn't real. The grind is bullshit. It's stupid. It's not. It's actually quite real, and it's possibly the best thing that you can do for yourself because it's the discipline that comes with it. But it's like, if you hate your fucking 9 to 5, and like, sorry to swear, but if you hate your 9 to 5, you have then that space from, like, say if you get up at 6, right? You have 3 hours before your shift. You can go to the gym. Whilst you're at the gym, journal. Don't like doing that? Do it anyway. You got then maybe like you finish at 5, get maybe home at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I'm not assuming anyone's life, but the thing is though, you're going to have to get hard on yourself.
Yep.
You have to do it hard. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to make dinner and I'm going to sit at my computer and I'm going to just work on whatever I need to work on. And that is literally the only way you can do it. You're going to have to sacrifice Netflix. It's like 3 hours of Netflix. Congratulations, you've watched 3 episodes of Gossip Girl and you haven't progressed in life.
Yep.
But Serena has.
Yep.
So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Get on your phone. You can build a business from your phone.
That's just
Your phone is your key.
Yeah.
You need just an Instagram, set up a PayPal account, or like get a Squarespace website.
Yep.
Put your product up.
Yep.
Boom. Talk about it to
Yeah.
people. Refer people over. And once you start doing that, it's actually not hard. People make it seem so hard. What's hard is like backing the insurance, accounting, tax, all that stuff.
Right.
That's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard is not the rest of it.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, if you've got that passion and drive and it's like, this is, like I said, if you've got that identity, I think this is what I talk about with people at the gym all the time. Because I can tell when somebody comes in and they're excited to be in the gym and they've just started and all the rest of it. And they're like, oh, I'm going to do the and it's great. And it's like, they don't have that, I am doing this and I'm going to get this result and I'm going to be here every day and you'll see me. And it's like, I'm not even caring if you're listening to me because I'm telling this to myself more than I'm telling it to you. They're the people that are going to get the result. Whereas, you get somebody that signs up because it's a cheap membership or whatever it is, or they drip, or their friends go there. And it's like, yeah, you're going to quit in 2 months because you'll realize this is hard. This is hard work. You go to the gym and it's hard. That's what I love about it.
It is hard.
Yeah.
It's sweaty. It's grueling. You're going to be so uncomfortable. Like, one reason for me why I've taken a step back from competing in powerlifting is that I need to change my body.
Right.
Like, my body, the way that it's like the composition of it, to be able to wear the belt, it's pushing everything in directions that makes me uncomfortable. I can't get into position. As soon as the wraps get put on my knees for wrap squats and the belt, it shifts the way that I have to squat. And then just my mass, and I'm just like, I can't do this. Like, that's literally something that I cannot physically do, and I hate it. So I'm like, I'm going to turn that can't into can. How do I make that happen? Okay, I have to do X, Y, Z. Fine. I have to work harder in the gym and get sweaty. Okay. Yeah. And it's about, like, I guess, like when you say, when someone's going to quit in the gym, you can kind of tell. They kind of just walk in there and just do a few reps and then they're gone.
Right.
It's like people are afraid to really go. Like, they're so afraid to go. Like, you've seen me train in the gym. I'm like covered in chalk and sweat and I'm like, eh. But the thing is, it's like people need to realize that you're going to have to, like, stop caring about what your face looks like when you're squatting.
Exactly.
Your Instagram followers, if they're going to judge you on having squat face,
right,
they don't care about you as a person.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, under pressure, things get hard. And yeah, I screw up my face because
and you know
I'm
what?
in pain.
The most photos that I've sold from powerlifting meets are those ones because it's not how they look. It's the work that goes into that.
That's right.
And that's why powerlifting is quite a great world, is it's not what you look like, it's what you do. And that's something that I took Batman's line, it's not... Oh my God, I forgot the quote. It's not who I am underneath the mask. It's what I do that defines me. Thank you. Yes. I could count on you.
There you go. You can say it.
That is exactly that. And it's like taking that and going, it's not how you look, it's what you do that defines you. Yeah. And that's why it's like, live with a passion, live with a purpose, live with that drive and dedication. Who gives a fuck what you look like when you're squatting? You're squatting.
Yeah.
And people will align with you however you look, and they're going to support you in that. So I love how, like, my friends are the coolest people. I have friends who are like filmmakers, they're artists, they're athletes, they're bikini pros. I've got people in different worlds, and they're just themselves.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And I think that's why it's so great to be able to talk about like things like alopecia and weight loss and weight gain, essentially, is that as long as you're putting it in, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
So like you've had a shitty moment in your life and you've gained 30 kilos, guess what? It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. You'll turn it around, you'll lose it, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
But you just have to be that person that when you walk into the gym, you're not just doing a couple of reps. You have to be that person that's like, I'm going to change my life. You're that dedicator to the cheap gym membership, not be like, it's cheap. I'm here for Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Selfies.
That's right. Yeah, well, that's the difference is, you know, I just see it so often.
I love Instagram selfies. Don't think I don't.
Screwed up face it. Hashtag screwed up face Instagram. But yeah, for me, I mean, that's my sessions. I mean, you've done a session with me with
Oh my God, tricep death. Tricep. I did that yesterday. That's why my arms are on the table right now.
Can't lift them. Oh.
I did your triceps yesterday.
Awesome.
And it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was really hard not having someone feeding me like inspirational, motivational one-liners.
Yeah. Do it. Come on.
It was
going.
It was brutal. But no, it's about like pushing through that burn of like when I think it gets to like 16 reps is when it starts to get horrible.
Yeah.
And then pushing into those literally last, to 20, then up to 26. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you feel amazed.
That's right.
Like that you did that.
Yeah,
so
yeah. There's two voices in your head going. One's saying, I can't do it. I'm in pain. This is hurting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just go to 20. 20 is good enough. And then it's like the other side is like, you motherfucker, you fucking get this.
The other side always.
You get this no matter what. I will destroy you if you don't get
Exactly.
this.
And that's why people like when I put up the stair climber, like I make sure I show that in real time.
Right.
Like I'll film myself getting on there and then I'll film myself like, about halfway through and I look dead. Like it's just pouring off my body. And it's to say like, that that's the point where you keep going. Because the amount of times I want to quit and get off that thing, that's why I put it up on my stories so then I don't get off, because then that last shot that I do, like the last story post of like me finishing and that time has clocked out, like people respond to that. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to go do this. I've had people tag me in posts when they've done their time on the Stairmaster or filmed themselves on there. And I'm like,
awesome.
What? We've got this like random Stairmaster movement happening.
Hashtag
so
Stairmaster
you're welcome, Anytime Fitness, for those memberships I've recently sold you.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. But yeah, inspiration. And that's the thing is that if you have a clear, and it's what builds mental strength. This is what I was saying. That I was training with a guy last night. I pushed him to the limit, man. It was crazy.
Did you break him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was great. It was great. And this is what you were talking about, I was going to sort of mention about with that last episode we just did, where you can recognize something in people.
Yeah.
Most people I will do that to will quit and they'll give up and they'll say, no, I've had enough, Very rarely you'll find somebody with the same mindset and it's like, we did this crazy bicep workout, right? And bicep is my number one strength. Like I am super strong in biceps and I can go all day. And
all day?
Oh yeah.
24 hours?
I could do a 24-hour bicep workout right now. And I trained last night. This guy, really nice, whatever. So we were going through the session. The very first exercise, preacher curls, first set, I said, okay, 50 reps. And he's like, 50? I'm like, yeah, 50. Okay. And it was like...
Yeah, that's like when you said 50 for the try. I was like, are you okay?
What are you talking about? Did you just mean 15? I said, no, 50. 50
Jeez.
reps. It's a warm-up. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Do the warm-up. Great. 25 for the second warm-up. Second warm-up. Yeah, second warm-up. Okay. 25. And then first...
Who warms up twice their biceps, though? Like, deadlift max. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And then, working sets, 20 reps. And I'm like, you're going to get 20 no matter what. And he got 8, and I made him do 20. So it was like, yeah, you did 8. And he's like, I can't do any more. I'm like, yeah, you can. And I helped him and assisted, and we pushed, and he wanted to quit at 12. He wanted to quit at 14. He wanted to quit at 16. He wanted to quit at 18.
Shit.
I'm like, you're at 18. You got 2 to go. And then it was
That's awesome.
And then he got 20. I'm like,
I love that.
You said you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You fucking said you couldn't do it. And you just did it.
And he did it. But the thing is, having someone there in front of you to push and drive you, like, that's one thing, like, I'm very self-motivated. But the thing is, having someone right there next to you is amazing. Like, especially in powerlifting, as much as it's a solo sport, like, I've got people like Graham, like his name's Hoover. He's like my brother in this, and we've been training together for ages. And like on the platform, like when I'm about to step on, him or like my other friend would be there, and I'd hand them my hat, and then that's me handing my trust to someone, because this thing is like my safety net.
Yeah.
And to hand that over and then step onto the platform and do it, like it's a team sport. Like, he's wrapped my knees, people hand you things, you have people spotting you. It's not just like one thing. And when you have support around you, anything is possible. So like when that guy's like, he would have thrown that down after 6 or 8 reps and been like, screw this, I'm not doing 50 reps. But sometimes you need someone to help you do the reps. Reps are life, man. Life is reps.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And
T-shirt.
it's like, you know, when we did a tricep workout, and it was like every time I said, okay, this set's 25, and you're like, fucking 25? Are you serious? Okay. But then you did it, and it was
we
like,
don't
there you
train
go.
that high. Like, when we do accessory work, it's like between 8 to 12. Like, we see 15, we're like, oh my God, my coach wants to kill me. And it's like, no, your coach wants the best for you, but also like, I love, like, my coaching style is a mixture between powerlifting and bodybuilding, because I love bodybuilding. Like, I think I would love to see where I can take my own body and my physique and push it after all these years of consistent training, even with that weight on my body. Like, I want to see what's underneath it. And so, and that's like, you know, when we're talking about like visualization for the future, that's where I see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just so cool, because it's like, powerlifting is like, we do 5 reps and we're tired. It's like, no, we shouldn't be tired after 5 reps. Our cardiovascular it's so bad, you know?
Yeah, well, it's different. I mean, you're training for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, doing 50 reps is probably not going to be helpful.
Oh my God, I couldn't bench for like 3 or 4 days after, because we did it on like a Thursday. I think we did it on a Thursday, and I still had a second bench session to go, and it was Sunday, and I had to hit, I was like at 50. I was 20 kilos under what I could hit, because my arms were freaking cooked. Little turkey arms. It was amazing.
I love it. Well, that's why I want to hit that point. For me, like, that builds that mental character, and you get that 2 voices. One wants to quit, one will keep you going. And when you make it, and you make it through, and you get to the end of the set, and then it's like, I made it. I did it. Yeah. You achieved. You accomplished. You got there. You get rewarded by, I wanted to quit that whole time, and I didn't, and I made it, and I got the goal. And that's 1 set, and you're doing 16 sets. So you get 16.
Whoa, 16 sets of how many reps?
Oh, it was...
That's why I'm like, oh, no, this guy okay today?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It'd be quite funny, actually. But I'm very impressed with... his name's James. Great guy. But what we were saying before, when you can see something in someone, I recognised very much my mentality in what he did. Yeah. He wanted to quit, but he didn't. And he kept pushing, and then it would be like, say... it's 25 you're going to. Yep. And he had to stop at 15. Couldn't do any more. That's fine. Rest. I said, I don't care if you rest. I don't care if you cheat. I don't care. You keep going. You get that 25. I'm like, it doesn't have to be full reps. Like, if they're partial reps, but you mentally are still moving that weight. And if you have to hold it and rest for 20 seconds and then keep going, but you get that 25. I don't care what your body is telling you. 25 is the goal, and you're going to get it. And it's like, so, you know, say it was 25, he gets 15, have to rest, get to 18, have to rest, get to 22, you'd have to rest. But then he would get to like 24, I'd be like, you got 1 more. And the 25th wouldn't go all the way. And I'm like, nah, that didn't count. It doesn't count.
Half reps, quarter reps don't count.
Doesn't count, mate.
No, I love that mindset of it has to be finished.
Yeah.
It's not finished until it's done.
Yeah.
You know, like...
But the looking at
just so mean.
It's just like, fucking serious. I'm like, I'm serious, mate.
The thing
Finish
is,
the set.
And like when you're pushed to that absolute brink, you kind of expose what people are like. Yeah. Like, not what they're like, but like it's almost like you see if they're hungry or not.
That's right.
And like if they're gonna come back next week and do it.
Yeah.
Like it's a really interesting thing to like. That's why powerlifting is great. Is that sometimes people do a novice or sanctioned meet and never come back because it's so demanding on the body, and it's reps on reps. It's like you're so uncomfortable because it's hot, it's sweaty, and it's painful.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah.
But like that saying, on the other side of pain is growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what we do is all about. So that guy, as much as like he would have hated it in the moment, I'm hoping that he walked away from that and went, fuck yeah, I did that.
Yeah, absolutely. That was, and I said, at the end of the session, gave him a big high five. I'm like, mate, that was amazing. Like I can see how much you pushed to get there, and you got it. And I'm like, no one else is in the whole gym is working as hard as you're working right now. And
I love that. One guy, he's not, I don't even know if he's still in the industry. I think he is. He was a PT at the warehouse, like where I first started. And I remember like I was struggling one day and I said, I wish I was as strong as the other girls because they were so strong.
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't matter about how much you lift, it's how hard you work.
Right.
And he's like, be the hardest worker in the room, even if you're not the strongest worker in the room. And I'll always take that with me. He told me that years ago. And I think about that every time I step into the gym, is that like, or a comp or something, is like, I might not be the strongest at the meet, but I'm going to work hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to make sure I work hard for it. And it's like powerlifting, if you podium, is awesome. Like that's great. But like the fact you're there and you're pushing yourself is amazing.
Exactly.
Even if you step into the gym, the amount it takes for some people to step into a gym is massive. Like I've got clients who come and see me because they don't want to be in a gym. But the fact they've stepped into a room with gym equipment is huge for them.
Yeah.
So I guess it's...
Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
I started thinking about having to mop my floors.
Oh, really?
So sorry. Yeah, I was just like, this morning I dropped my bucket of chalk and chalk and gym mats.
It was related.
It was related. I just love how I was like, I'm so focused on talking about this, and I was like,
discipline. It's sacrifice. It's mopping.
It's
up
mopping.
The mess
but that's the other thing. Is like,
I leave the oven on before.
Well, the thing is that we can totally lead into the fact that your mental health is quite dictated by the space you're in.
Yeah.
So like being clean, like for me, my studio has to always be clean. Like I vacuum the floors like 3 times a week, the mats, so they stay nice and clean. Even if the day it's not cleaning day, I will still mop it. I dust everything down. Even when we're in a bigger space, I will still do the same thing, because it's really humbling when you get to, dust your dumbbell rack or something like that. Oh, sorry, bro. You dust your dumbbell racks or like your plates, making sure everything's clean. And then it's like, oh, that's great for my mental health. Same as your house. Like you get your house in order, your life is in order.
Yeah.
And like same as training. You step into the gym, that's getting your body in order, your mind in order, and going, if it means I'm going to have to do 50 bicep curls to get further in my day, I'll do 50 bicep curls. I might cry, but at least you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of it, you've achieved it. And it's
exactly.
Like, this is what I said to James after we worked out. I was like, nothing in your day is going to be as hard as what you just did.
Oh, no.
Nothing in this week is going to be as hard as that. And I said, so when you come up to a challenge outside of here,
I love
it's
that.
just going to be like, are you serious? That's nothing.
Yeah.
And because doing that over years and years of mental strength and discipline and torturous workouts and effort, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reps in pain. And it's like the strength that you build mentally from that.
Yeah.
When something else outside of the gym comes up and it's difficult or seemingly difficult, you're like, that is nothing compared to the torture I put myself through.
Exactly. And that's why I feel like I feel unstoppable almost every single day, because I went through all of that. And that's why it's like I wake up, I'm like, I get to do my own life now. I don't have to deal with idiots.
Yep.
I get to do this. And it's like I will never have an employer ever again, because my employers found out that I wasn't straight and fired me.
Oh, yeah, that's
and that was allowed to happen. And so now I went, well, screw you. I created a queer friendly, the gym is very queer friendly. But like I've gone through all of that, and never again will I ever allow someone to have that power. So now it's like, nothing will ever be as hard as that. So for that, like, that's why starting the gym in the morning is so important. Is nothing in that day is going to be harder than probably having to get out of bed and go to the gym.
Yeah.
So that means if you have to deal with your shitty boss, you can deal with your shitty boss because you pushed yourself through, that mental fortitude to build that you now can do it.
Yeah.
And then go home, work on your dreams, and then quit that shitty job.
Yeah, because that shitty job will always be there.
Yeah.
Regardless. And this is what Dana White, from UFC president, said, when he got the opportunity, or he saw the UFC and he saw that it was for sale, and he approached a couple of his friends who had money and said, the UFC is for sale, I think we should buy it. This is the reasons why we should buy this thing. And he was working as like a bellhop.
Oh, wow. Okay.
At that time.
Yeah.
And a boxing instructor, like a boxing class instructor sort of thing. But he was working in the fitness world, but he was also doing like the bellhop stuff, with the hat and at the hotel.
I can imagine that's not exactly the most nicest job having to deal with people.
But he goes, that job from the outside was a good job because it was unionized and you got paid reasonably well. You got tips, you got to work, afternoons, you didn't have to do this. It was like, from the outsider's perspective, when they're looking at what is the easiest option, it's like, well, I can get a decent amount of money for this, like, low level of effort. And it's like, but the trap is that you go into those low level effort things, become comfortable, you're never in pain, you're never in difficulty. So you never grow, you never learn, you never get better. And so you stay at that level, and that level doesn't progress, and you stay there for years. And you see people that stay in those jobs for 40 years, and they are toxic people, and they're bitter and resentful because they never went and followed anything. And
then
so
they're dream killers.
Yeah, and then like, oh, yeah, because they're so negative, because they didn't do anything themselves to challenge themselves. And it's like...
And that's sad, because who hurt them
when
they were younger to the point that they decided to live a life like that? Like, they learned that behavior. Like, that's the thing, is like, people aren't, it's like a dog, for example. A dog is never always bad. It learns to be that through mistreatment. But the thing is, it does then have the chance to be kind. It's how you treat it. Like, from example, like my dog Tank, I'm his fourth home.
Oh, okay.
And he's a Staffy Cross. So he, with how he's been treated in the past, he should technically be really aggressive. But he is really quite amazing. He chose to be kind and loving. Like, when I met him, he chose to be loving. He had all of these mental health issues, and he wasn't any of that. So he really, like, as I know it's a dog, but he's not a dog. He's a very, very switched on little being. But it's like, he could have hated humans for what they did to him, but he chose not to. And now he's like, he's almost like a comfort dog. Because when I have clients that come in with anxiety, he'll sit with them during inductions. Yeah, and they're not nervous to be in a gym environment.
Yeah.
So it's like those people who are so bitter and sour, and they're like in their 40s or their 50s and 60s, it's like, my question to them when they say, like, one of my ideas is stupid or something, I'm like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Like, who hurt you to the point you want to put me down?
Right.
Like, no. Like, even, for example, like when I wanted to be a personal trainer, I was studying, people talked down to me about it. And they were in the industry. I'm like, who are you to talk down to me when you should be really promoting this industry?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and now it's like, I see, they don't follow me, but I see them in my stories. Yeah. And it's like, I wish them well. That's all I can say, because, like, who hurt you?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
so that guy who's bitter and toxic, like, who hurt him?
Right. Yeah, well, that's it. And I think that's one of the traps, is that comfort that people get in with those sort of jobs. And it's like, it is a trap. You need to recognize, okay, if this takes minimal effort, great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use minimal effort throughout the job, but then I'm going to spend maximum effort outside of the job to get out of that job. So I never need it again, because I don't want to be stuck in a minimal effort job forever. I remember one of my mates was a factory worker for a while, and he said that there was a lady that was in, it was like a factory line, like assembling bits of machinery. And he said that her job was like a drill press, so a bit of metal would come, she'd drill the hole, put the thing, and next one, drill the hole. And that that was a job all day. Like, 8-hour shift, drill the hole. Then
Bloody hell.
Yeah. And she'd been there for 15 years or something. And
drilling a hole every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Same position. And he said, I'd quit the job and hadn't seen her. And he goes, and 20 years later, I saw her at the shops. And I said, oh, hey. And he goes, please tell me you're still not there. And she goes, no, yeah, still there, still doing the drill press.
What?
And he's like, how are you still
This is the thing.
She said, well, what else am I supposed to do?
Yes. I was about to say, some people don't think they have purpose on this planet. They don't matter. I'm like, you have the chance to do some really cool stuff in life.
Yeah.
You just have to open your eyes. Like, people think when they wake up, they just autopilot. We're almost ingrained, literally, like in high school, to just, what are you going to do with your life? Uni. What happens if uni doesn't work out? You're a failure if you drop out, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I feel like the world is changing in the way that, like, because we've got, I can't say the word, it's really hard, entrepreneurships now. We have those people doing that, and it's amazing. Like, we're leading the way. As like, I worked a 9 to 5 that was incredibly toxic. There were days I had to hide under the desk because members were they were aggressively homophobic. It was a really scary place to be in.
Wow.
And I thought, why am I putting myself through this? Like, I literally drove home. I was like, what am I doing? Like, I have a choice to keep putting myself through this. No one's protecting me. Why am I enduring this job? For money? I can get money anywhere else. Yeah. I'm not physically able to go back into a kitchen because that's something that is triggered in the PTSD. But it's like, I can still do something else. What can I do? Oh, all right, future, dream. And then that's when this whole thing kicked in, because it was like, we just settle. And that's why never settle is on a t-shirt, because people settle, people quit. It's like the amount of people that I know that hate their jobs but are so freaking talented that could build a business and support their entire lifestyle and like families with that skill set, they don't do it. They think that 9 to 5 is it.
Yep.
And that isn't it. You don't have to keep going to that job if you hate it. Yeah. You have skills, and we're just depressed into this point where society depresses us and it's pushed down, and then your boss is pushed down by whoever is above that person, and it's just consistent crushing. Yeah. And unless you can break out of the matrix, it's like it's literally that's what it almost felt like, is waking up out of the matrix.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is so rare, and that's why, I want to get people like yourself on the show, because it's like, you are somebody who is doing something, and it's like, oh, you're not just a person who works,
I took that Matrix computer and I smashed it. Yeah. I was like, I'm never going back.
These are the people that are interesting, that have stories, that have difficult times, that it's like, the greatest art comes through the most difficult works. It's like, you to have the up, you got to have the down. And it's like, tell me about your up, now tell me about your down, because you had to have both, because to be up here, you had to have gone down there. Exactly. Because if you're sitting in the middle your whole life, it's like, that is a boring person to talk to, and within 5 minutes you know everything about them, and it's like, Exactly.
So. And you know what? I rate people on movies.
Okay.
I like this is so weird.
Have you seen Dread?
Have you seen Star Wars, Dread, Star Trek? How do you feel about Natalie Portman? All of these sort of things. How do you feel about Henry Cavill? Is pretty much up there at the moment. I love him. He's beautiful.
He's a really cool guy. One of the most charismatic guys in the world.
I love him. Awesome. He lives rent-free in my mind. Anyway, please eliminate that one out of that. I look at people, so like, for example, so how we talked about the 9 to 5, don't do more than one thing. It's like the amount of people who think that what I do is too much. It's like, it's actually not enough. Like, I have days where I end up bored, and I'm like, oh my, that's not normal to be bored, but it's only because I'm like, I want the next step of progress. It's like, all right, I've completely changed the way that I do my photography now. Like, my style, I've practiced a new style, and I hit shots a bit harder and way more different, out of my comfort zone, and it's paid off. It's been amazing. And it's like, when we get stuck in this is how photography is meant to be. This is how social media is meant to be. This is how you're meant to look if you're a fitness model. If you're a personal trainer, this is how you're meant to look if you're a personal trainer. And it's like people are now starting to smash those like stereotypes out.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool.
Yeah, well, it's like you said before about being authentic. Because if somebody's authentic and then they're passionate about something, and it's like people will gravitate towards that regardless as to what it is. Like I will happily watch any video that the person is excited to talk just about this thing. And I remember watching a guy fixing like PlayStation 3s.
Were you in that part of YouTube?
I got there somehow. It was like 3 a.m. and I don't know how, but I got there. But it was really interesting because he was really excited. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I didn't know anything about it. And I still probably don't. But it was like his enthusiasm and realness was what was carrying the video. Because he could have done the exact same video with the same content, but not been interested in it. And I wouldn't have watched it. Yeah. So, you know, regardless of what it is, if somebody is doing something and they're excited about it and they're working hard towards it, it's like they almost... when they're talking to you, they're talking to themselves because it's like they're telling you the thing that they're doing, but really they're like trying to define it for themselves. And it's like, oh yeah, so what I'm going to do is, but really it's like, I'm doing this, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? That's why that's the power of listening is just being there to listen to someone to help them. Like, for example, my PT business, I didn't know if I wanted to be a personal trainer or not. Right. It was because my friend, I said to her, I think I want to be a personal trainer. I was seeing, she was my massage therapist and friend. And I found it really hard to be touched after everything. So finding a massage therapist that I could connect, like I could trust was massive. And then we became really good friends. And one day I said to her, I think I want to be a PT. And she was like, I think you should follow through with that. Then I sent her a message, I think like a few days later. I was like, no, I want to be a PT. I think I really want to do this. Yeah. And I want to start my business. And so we caught up at this cafe and she just sat and listened and she typed on the laptop and then she turned it around. She's like, this is a business plan. Yeah. And that was just because someone took the time to listen. Yeah. And to this day, we still go to that cafe, and if I need to just like try and work out what I want to, how to do something, like create something, we'll just sit there and we'll just talk about it. And that's the power of listening. Like I'm lucky to have people in my life to do that with. And that's now why I'm trying to leverage Stone Industries Universal into being able to do that for others, to give them a chance to have someone to listen to who's not going to shut them down when they say, this is my ultimate vision. I'm going to go, cool, this is your ultimate vision here. Mm-hmm. This is all the stuff you're going to have to do to get there. Yep. And you're going to have to do it. And along the way, you're going to find more stuff you're going to have to learn. That's right. But when you get there, you're going to be like, you're going to be ready. Yeah. So
it's funny because it's like most people might say, I want to get here. And it's like, okay, awesome. Well, you can get there through the steps that you can take. And if once they start getting close to it, like if they take the action and then it's like, actually, instead of there, I'm actually going to go a bit here. And it's like, yeah. And then they get to where they were going to and they're like, I can do better than that.
Never satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's awesome because it's like, you continue to achieve. But I think one of the important mental lessons, this is something that they were talking about with Robin Williams and is the principle of fulfillment, like that you must celebrate your wins.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you achieve something, you did a good job. Like you got that result from your own efforts and feel good about it. Bookmark it. Say, yes, this was a result that happened and I'm proud of that. Because if you just go, oh yeah, okay, yep, that's the thing done. Okay, next. And you're never feeling that like I've got my reward for my efforts, then you might find that, over years that you've never looked back at the stuff you've done. And it's like, if you wrote down your actual achievements of what you've achieved, it's like, that's actually a lot of stuff. Like that's impressive. And it's like, yeah, you are an incredible person. Like you haven't even realized the stuff that you've done. And I know that some people look at that as ego, but it's like, it's not ego.
It wasn't even like just interject that. Like when you did that YouTube intro, I never thought about myself like that. Oh, okay, cool. Never, literally, I've just been so go. And it's like, I didn't think about it like that. It was the first time I'd ever actually gone, hang on a minute. I do have something to offer. Yeah. And it's that self-worth. And I still listen to a lot of stuff in my head. And now I'm just like, nah, no way. Nothing it's really hard to phase me now. I just go like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Like if someone says something shit, like those guys out there before, I'm just like, yeah, but like Carl Urban signed this and approved of it. So your opinion doesn't matter to me. Exactly. So it's like, it's about that like validate. Like it's almost like we're constantly in need of validation, and social media is a really, really big, culprit in that of going, posting a selfie if we don't feel well or something like that. And, that's fine. But like you have to have your own self-validation and go, like journaling is cool. Like think about your wins for the day and write them all down and celebrate them yourself.
Yeah.
I talk about my wins on the internet because these are wins that come from like serious hard work, and I want other people to work hard as well.
Yeah.
And to celebrate a win and stop and smell the roses, essentially, because like I didn't do that for 3 years. I did not stop because I went from like going through recovery to then going through powerlifting to going through study, business building, and then suddenly I was literally standing in my studio and I was like, how did I get here? It was like a time jump. And one of my friends, Angela, she was like, you need to stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
And I've got that written on one of my boards, is like stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
It's like everything, all the focus and all of those sort of words are up there, but then it's like I've made sure I've put there stop and smell the roses and just be present.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, like when we're thinking about other things, what's Janet posting on social media? We're worried about other people's lives instead of going, no, myself as a person matters ultimately, self-validation for myself only.
Yep.
And then you become freaking unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you got to love yourself before anyone else can love you.
Exactly.
And it's like if you are, like inside, you are proud of everything that you're doing. And it's, I'm trying to think of like 10 things at once here.
I love that though.
Yeah.
Hit me with all 10 things at once. I can do 10 conversations
You get excited. You get excited. Because it's like, when a challenge comes up throughout the day, and it's all those little things that you do, those promises that you keep to yourself. So self-confidence comes from making a promise to yourself and keeping it. Yeah. So if you set your alarm for 4:30 in the morning and the alarm goes off and you get up, then that's the first challenge of the day, and you accomplished it, and you're like, oh, I got up, awesome. And then it's like, okay, I need you to eat this food. Okay, great, done. This is the need you to go to the gym. Need you to do this. Need you to do that. Okay, and over the day, there might be one decision each time. It's like, do you want to get this? We should do this. This is the thing that needs to happen for you to get that result. It's not that you're looking at this grand plan at all times, but it's like, this is the task right now, and I need you to do it. And then you do it, and it's like, oh, I feel good. And it's like, feel good, like all day. By the end of the day, it's like one person might say something negative, and you're like, I had like 300 good moments today.
Exactly.
So
it doesn't phase you.
Right.
That's why do good daily is one of my sayings. And like, I've been saying it for a long time. It started off with We Only Have Good Days, which is like one of Rob's sayings. And like, that's one of my favorite songs as well, because it's all about like work and that work ethic. And life isn't work. It doesn't have to be looked at like that. But if you want to be able to do life, you got to work for it. And people just think that shit's just going to get handed to them.
Sure.
It doesn't work like that. And so it's like when you have that whole like what were you saying before about
the small moments,
the small
moments over the each day.
So when that person says something negative to you, but you've just been in the back of your mind celebrating every single win throughout the day, it's not going to phase you.
Exactly.
You're going to be worried because like the amount of people who get so caught up about stuff, and like I'm pretty sure workplaces would be way better places to be in if people just took a moment to just celebrate.
Yeah.
Instead of hate. Like the amount of people who hate on each other for success is nuts.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, that's the thing. You were saying this before in the last episode where people, say in the personal training industry or people that are in any business, when somebody else says, hey, I'm doing this thing, rather than trying to put them down, it's like to support someone and be like, oh, that's awesome. Like, no, tell me about it. Oh, well, this is what I've been doing. and or maybe you could do that, and then you know you try to support each other, and then it's like by doing that, like whenever I have investment properties and that sort of thing, and if I talk to anyone about finance or whatever, and it's like, you know, they want to buy a house or something, I'll discuss some of the things that have worked for me, and then, you know, if they go down that same path, and it's like, well, I will be here to support you, and if you have any questions or anything, ask me, and I will answer them. And then it's like, because by me helping somebody else get to another level, it benefits me as well. Not only do they might find opportunities that I didn't find, and then it's like, oh, hey Matt, this thing has come up. You know, would you be interested in doing something with that? And it's like, yeah, that sounds good. And I wouldn't have had that chance to do that if I had at the very start just said, oh no, you got no chance, you know. It was like, okay, well, I can see that you're putting in effort, I will support you. And then it's like, if you come to me, we can work on things together. And then it's like, here's an opportunity that comes about where maybe we can do something together, and that opportunity would not have happened without the support throughout that way.
Exactly.
And it's the same for me. If I'm talking and somebody else is like, yeah, I can help you with that, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And that's why, like, I feel like a lot of people get a little bit worried because they're like, I don't want to lose clients, or I don't even know. They make up so many weird excuses to not be allied in the fitness industry with other people. And it drives me nuts. Like, I've got mates now who are working together in like they're a powerlifting team. And I'm like, yes, it's good to see like-minded people who are severely talented, like so talented, work together, because like it's people work with you for who you are.
Right.
And it's like, people think being a personal trainer is about how good you look, all of those sort of things. At the end of the day, that doesn't matter.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so, and it's like, that's why listening and being able to help people that's exactly how you're going to find people who are on your level. Like when you said you had those little like hint drop questions to be able to like see if they're on your level or not.
Right.
I've started to learn to do that myself. And it's almost like some different kind of self-awareness. So it's
yeah,
just
you got to be careful, because some people will try to crush your dreams before you. And it's like, I don't want your negativity. And it's like, well, if I don't know the person well, and why would I value their opinion? Because especially if it's on a topic I know they don't know anything about. Yeah, this is what you probably get this a lot with the fitness industry, is that somebody goes, oh, but I read an article, or I watched the video.
An Instagram video of a deadlift told me to put a band around my ankles or something like that. Yeah. There is a lot of random shit out there.
Exactly.
I'm not going to lie. But the thing is, it's just like, yeah, I don't want to get into Instagram to coach. It drives me nuts. I see things and it stresses me. It really stresses me out as a trainer, because there's so much false information being fed out there to people, and it's disorder triggering, eating disorder triggering, overtraining triggering, you know, all of those sort of things. And it's just like this whole mindset, you go to the gym, you're going to die. And it's hard. I have clients that come to me, I sign them, and, you know, they're like, oh, it felt too easy, so I went up. I'm like, then make it look good.
Right.
Make it look beautiful. Make that rep look so stunning that when you have to go max out, you're not going to like have it collapse on you because you've worked on that technique.
Right.
Just because it's not heavy doesn't mean you're not working.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's almost like it's like we got to like people have this mindset in the gym to go max out. Like I see it at the gym all the time when I train, and girls are loading so much weight on their back that they're not ready for it. The amount of people I've spotted just walked over to just pick the bar off them is nuts.
Yep.
The edge, and it's because we're in the age of Instagram education through fitness. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who that was. But yeah, it is an interesting aspect, because, you know, looking at the fitness industry, and I've been in it for 20 years, and you see, like, it used to be magazines when I first started. It was a magazine, but the funny thing is, you got that business aspect to it, where it's like, you know, this month it's like, oh, how to build a bigger chest, and then next month, how to build bigger biceps, and then it's like next month, how to build a bigger chest. Like,
and now it's saturated in front of us all the time through all these coaches that are just doing that, and it's just like,
especially
it's so overwhelming.
This is what's strange or interesting about it, is the principles of healthy exercising are basic. It's like if you lift something, you go to the gym and train, and it's progressively more difficult, and you eat majority healthy foods, you'll get results.
Absolutely.
That's all
Absolutely.
it is. And it's like, people come up with these ridiculously crazy exercise. One-legged squat football thing while dumbbell pressing on your head, it's just ridiculous. And it's like, oh, but I'm trying to train core at the same time as my ankle. It's like,
set yourself up in the movement correctly and your core will activate.
Exactly. So
It's like you can get that in a tricep push down.
Yeah.
Almost like the way that you can set up in a tricep push down and the way you just kind of angle your body. It's really hard to say it over, but it's like you will feel your core turn on. And that's why I love trainers on the internet who aren't just preaching stuff, but they're showing. And it's like for me as I don't have a coach at the moment, but from when I was looking for a powerlifting coach, and I worked with her for I think 2 years, nearly 3 years, it was like she was doing it. People who do, I love that.
Right.
If you're doing it, you're in it, you're living and you're breathing it. Like I love that. I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
If you're like, I'm going to use this as a massive example. I had a client recently come in for a session. She asked me about nutrition, and I know I'm not the smallest personal trainer out there. I have a lot of weight to lose, and I didn't ask for that weight. They don't know my story. They just judged me on how I looked. And so they asked me for some nutrition advice, and they're on, I think it's Weight Watchers, and it's 1,100 calories a day. Yes.
It's like half a lettuce leaf and an apple.
And that's being sold to people as a healthy diet. And I said to her, I'm like, we can't be lifting at the amount of training that we're doing and you're eating 1,100 calories, not even that some days. And she looked me up and down and asked me, legit, looked me up and down, dead-eyed me and said, what would you know?
Oh.
And I was gobsmacked because I then looked at her. I was like, I've lost 45 kilos naturally on my own through weightlifting, and I was never in a deficit when I did it because I made sure I did the right things.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't starve myself because I don't want to like lose heaps of weight and then stack it back on.
That's right.
It's like, that's why I'm doing it so gradually. And I just never forget that. I was like, wow, someone said that to my face.
Didn't she ask you to start with?
Yeah. That's why it was weird. And it's like, I speak about this because respect is such a thing that lacks sometimes. And like, obviously there's client confidentialities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that one moment made me go, I'm going to work so fucking hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to work so hard that person is going to see me in 6 months' time, 1 year's time, and they're never going to say that to another person ever again because they're going to eat those words.
Yeah.
Because people are going to just say things off the fly like that, and they're not going to care about how it makes you feel. But that moment made me go, you know what? I'm gonna do this. That was a real trigger moment.
Well, that's the difference between
Exactly.
someone who
I've
can
never,
take,
and like my clients are so beautiful. They're like, we have a very like-minded team now, which is, and like this is the thing, people come in and out of business. And what I want to teach people who are new and fresh to the industry is you're going to come across people who are not going to respect you.
Yep.
And that was someone that I came across very early in my days. And it's now because I put myself out on social media, I goof around on my stories, I post things that are real about life. And from doing that is how I've built my business, is by literally telling the truth and being honest. And the one thing that is a real kicker in this is that someone told me, don't tell your story because it's too depressing. And I'm just like, I now talk about it all the time because it's so empowering.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is literally the most empowering thing to go from like brain dead to running these businesses. Like, can't touch me. And I want people to be able to say out loud, yo, you can't touch me because of that.
Exactly.
I've lived that. So now I'm so excited for like January. I'm looking at launching a whole bunch of things that come January, people are going to start becoming bulletproof like that. That they went from, depressed and hurt, and that when someone judges them on how they look, they're like, doesn't faze them.
Yeah.
If anything, it'll be like, oh my God, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm worth.
Yeah, that's right.
Know?
That's the difference, isn't it? Is taking those negative moments and turning them into your advantage. And that's me 100%. Every workout is thinking of those horrible times in my life when it's like, that's my fuel for this moment.
Yeah.
It's like when it's getting hard, that trick, bang, right there it is. That's
been a fuel for a long time, that one.
Yeah. And that's
People
what I was
say shit.
sort of getting to with James from last night is I recognized that that's what I'm saying. I recognized the moment he thought there was something he thought of. I don't know what it is. I didn't ask him, but he thought of something, and it was like he found the
Bang.
extra energy. And I was like, I said at the end of the set, I said you've been through something.
Yeah.
You've been through something because that extra mindset to get those extra reps that came from somewhere, and it was like
people got to dig and not hide it. This is why I'm a big fan of psychology and seeing a psychologist in therapy is that it's a chance to talk to someone who professionally understands what the mind is doing and what the mind is going through to help give you tools to be able to manage situations and communication. So I was a mute for probably a solid 12 months. I couldn't communicate properly.
Wow.
And I had a stutter. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I couldn't look anyone in the eye. I was very, very broken as a person. And because I wanted to be a photographer, and also then, the growth into personal training, you have to talk to people.
Yeah.
You have to communicate. And by learning, cognitive brain therapy and understanding mindfulness, like really understanding the depths of it, taught me that skill to go when people say or do things like that, it's something within themselves that's unhappy, and to not judge them, but I'm going to use what they said anyway to propel me super far forward.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
So it's like when people have gone through things, if you learn to face it, and I didn't face what happened to me for a solid year and a half. I didn't want to till I had no choice. And I just remember going, I'm going to face this, and it's because PTSD is a very interesting thing, what it does to the brain and to the body. And I just had enough of what it was doing to me. And I just remember waking up one morning and it literally propelling me forward. I just woke up with this energy, and every time I was bench pressing or deadlifting, it was like, this is making me a stronger and better person because I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not going to be a shitty employer, because I will employ people one day. That when someone comes to me because they're getting harassed or bullied, that I don't make, exceptions for it.
Right.
Just because he's good at his job, I don't care. You're out. We'll deal with it.
Yep.
So it's about for me at the moment, what I'm trying to make for others to be able to follow through with, is that when it feels hard and you want to quit and those last reps really fucking hurt, use the hurt from before, because nothing's going to hurt as much as that.
Yeah.
And then keep going.
Yeah.
And that sounds like it's really facing yourself. And when you face yourself constantly, you're going to grow.
Oh, yeah.
You grow so much as a person that you just you feel awake. I feel awake as fuck.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I'm so woke. It's like, wow, when you really face yourself and face everything about you, and even things that are bad about you, there's things that I'm like, I need to change X, Y, and Z. I need to improve on this stuff. So then this gets better. So now it's I look at those aspects of myself and I face it. And ever since doing that, it's like, wow, the world got easier.
Yeah.
The world got so much easier.
Absolutely.
It's you finish your 9-to-5 job that you hate. Guess what? You are free after that to go do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Go build your future. Go to the gym. Hit 26 reps for bicep curls and triceps. And then you'll start realizing that 9-to-5 has no control over you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Or it opens that light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, man, when you get to that point, it's amazing. And I feel like some people don't take it seriously about, I'm quite into, spirituality and, that we have this, there's this energy pushing us forward. I've felt it with certain things. I know if it's right or wrong because of the way it feels. And I really believe in that. And it's if it doesn't feel right, why are you doing it?
Right.
And if it's making you depressed, why are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's we're literally putting ourselves through hell to get a paycheck from someone who could replace you if you drop dead.
Yep. You're a name on the roster.
Exactly.
You're the spot that your name fills that gap for today.
I learned that in hospitality the very hard way, where I had gallstones, and I was really sick, and I should have I pretty much passed out the back of the restaurant because my sous chef didn't let me go.
Wow.
he kept me on roster the whole time. And because we're really busy. And I said, I'm really sick. I need to go. And he didn't let me go. And then I just walked. And they pretty much threatened my job because I nearly died.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But then I went back to that employer, and then they ruined my life for 4 years. So are you going to put your, like, this is the thing that I don't want people to do, is that stop putting yourself through shit.
Yeah.
You are actually 100% in control of your life. And you need to realize that before more happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And the moment you wake up, and I want, like, this is something that I do. Sometimes I dead eye myself in the mirror, just like you did, and you go, I am over this. You are worth more than this. And, like, just say it. I am worth more than this. I'm not going to keep putting myself through this shit.
Exactly.
Why am I putting myself through this? I can get a paycheck somewhere else.
Yep.
I'm actually a brilliant artist and a singer. I'm going to put my videos up on YouTube and monetize.
Yep.
There is literally millions of paths out there that you can take. You don't have to quit something. You don't have to quit life because it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's like I see too many people who are severely talented at what they do quit. And I'm just like, you're about to have your breakthrough.
Yeah, exactly.
And so...
It's the 11th hour.
Exactly. And so that guy doing his... People think, oh, it's just a bicep curl, man. It's just the gym. It's like, no, it's actually... It's way more than that. It's dedication. It's like being able to set your day up with routine and structure. And I look at people who are like, you know, pro bodybuilders and stuff. And then they're like, I wish I looked like this guy. It's like, would you trade places with him, his lifestyle, of what he had to live to get there?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And like,
every minute of every day, yeah.
I like, I'm going to say it, what is it? Like, you know how you got the Instagram influencers now that are showing off these lifestyles, these lavish lifestyles. Buy my $7,000 mentoring program. I'm going to change your life, babe. It's not her house. It's not her car. Yeah. It's, she doesn't own any of it. It's all loaned. But then you're paying money to not actually learn.
Right.
And it's like who you trust in this industry is so hard because there's thousands of personal trainers out there, right? Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, I feel like, do they practice what they preach? Are they working on themselves every single day? Are they working towards a bigger picture? Does their, you know, do they align with my morals? You know, do they have respect levels? How do they treat people? How do they speak? And like when you want to get down, you know, really into, you know, self-growth and self-worth and learn the self-love, you're going to have to make sure you have people who are on your page with that. Otherwise it gets nasty and it gets toxic and you end up sick.
Yeah.
So that guy was lucky, James, to have been destroyed by you because it's like, it's hard to find people who are like-minded, man. Like people who are going to just be like, you know, I want more out of life. But then some people were like, oh, what's the point if we're really hard? Like, it's like, I would rather like work a Saturday night than go spend money out, you know, that's going to disappear and then I not remember the night. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like people want to do that, that's fine. But the thing is that, like, I don't drink, for example, and I got shamed for not drinking.
By who?
And it's just like, it's like personal choice should never be shamed for that sort of thing. And it's okay if you choose to drink and if you don't. But the fact that I was laughed at because I don't want to drink, but it's like, why are we shaming people for those choices, which realistically, you know, it's better for you if you don't.
You're right, yeah.
And it's like, for me, if I drink, it's a negative. It's not a positive up. And so it's hard, man. Being young and driven is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. But the alternative is...
So I was like 25 and like this, and it was really hard to find anyone who was on my wavelength.
Oh, absolutely. It's rare. That's why it's like when I meet people like yourself, and it's like, I want to get this person in. I want to go because
mate,
it's like
I've done so much cool. This is the thing. I love to do cool things. I see something like I want to learn how to do it. So I had no idea about cosplay, right?
Yeah.
Zero idea what it was. And then I saw some people at Comic-Con. I went to a Comic-Con and I was like, this is fun. And I saw costumes. I was like, okay, how do I learn to do that? So I made like an Iron Man suit. The first thing I ever made was like an Iron Man suit out of very soft EVA foam, and it was horrible because it like fell apart. But it was so bad. My dad's kept it, and I look at this thing now, and I'm like, oh my god, Bob. Why do we still have this? But it's so
Bob?
Bob's my dad. Bob the Builder. I call my parents by their first names
because
so weird. It's so cute. Bob the Groundsman. He calls himself. It's so funny. He does the gardening. Like, I'm lucky. I'm like, why don't you just do your own gardening? But anyway, so yeah, I made an Iron Man suit and I wore that to the Women's and Children's Hospital.
Oh, cool.
And the little kids didn't care that I didn't look exactly like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. I'm a very short person. Mm-hmm. And they didn't care.
Yeah.
And it was so moving that these kids got escape from reality. And I thought, wow, this is great. I was only really able to handle one sort of visit because it was quite a lot. This little kid, his name was Casey. He actually coloured in one of his favourite pictures from an Iron Man colouring in book.
Oh, right.
And he gave it to me and he's like, this is you saving me. And I was like, I just remember going, we have so much power and influence to be able to help people just find better in life. And I think that's where this really started to really pick up for me.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing the Dread movie, like going and seeing that at the cinema. I was like, I'm going to make that costume. And so I've made, I think there's been 3 versions of it.
Okay.
And so now it's pretty much 100% screen accurate. But it took a long time to get it there. But it's like I get obsessed with goals and I want to do things and I want to make them right and perfection and that sort of thing. And in the costuming world and cosplay, it was so cool to be around that. And then it got to the point where like I put things up on YouTube. And then I think it was AvCon. I did a panel at AvCon. And then I went from doing panels at AvCon about, costume building and working with foam, literally taking a piece of paper and turning it into a helmet, those sort of things. That's made of resin. That's not a piece of paper.
Yeah,
but you can do that.
Wow.
And so I made, I'll have to send you a photo of it. It's like the elven armor from Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
And I made that out of foam. And there's ways that like you get the foam and then you shape it into the shape you want by like through cutting it and gluing it together. And then when you mix water and just like PVA wood glue together, mix it together and paint it over it, the EVA foam absorbs it and makes it hard. So you just keep painting that over and that's how you make these sort of things. And so then I started teaching people how to do that at panels at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then moms would come up to me after with like these swords they made their kids for Book Week and Comic-Con because they watched my YouTube video.
Wow, that's cool.
And I was like, oh my God, I didn't think putting that up was even going to do anything. Yeah. But there's like an Adventure Time kid. And I'm like, what? So then I really got, like, I kept doing it and consistency and all of that sort of stuff. So then that's when I fell into fitness. And now it's like, I would love one day when I have like 5 minutes to pair cosplay and fitness together.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the path yet together, but one day it will. And that's why, like, putting that on for the first time since 2017 was huge.
Yeah. Like
my shoulders barely wanted to fit in it, but like awesome. It's cool. Like to be able to just make something out of nothing. You can literally make anything out of nothing. So when people doubt themselves, it's like if someone can turn a piece of fabric into a dress, right? And then that dress is put on Billie Eilish, which is then on Vogue. It's like anything is possible because everything comes from that little speck of cotton.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, that's actually a really good analogy. And somehow I fit Billie Eilish into that too.
I could see you watching this back, nodding, going, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, the cotton fields. But it's because remember how that girl was like, so tell me, do you make the cotton as well? And I'm like, soon. Yeah, that's the funniest thing.
Yeah, well, that's it. And you say there's not a path with fitness and cosplay at the moment, but maybe you can create the path.
My goal is like I have to resize some of the straps on the chest plate, but what I really want to do is a fitness photo shoot in the Dread outfit though.
Yeah.
So even though I'm doing this 12-week challenge, I think so we're on week 9 now. My goal is to do a photo shoot at the end of it. And then I was like, everyone does it in like apparel and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's cool. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do it in my Dread outfit. Because I think when you put the armor plates on there and everything else and you've got like all the other gadgets, it looks so badass.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to like do a photo shoot in a gym in a costume.
Yeah.
I mean, like Judge Dredd leg pressing. Like, okay, like why not?
Oh,
Social
yeah,
media,
absolutely.
I have to do it. I really want to do it now. But like social media doesn't have to be so serious.
There's no rules. Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no rules in creativity. And that's why art is amazing. There is no rules.
That's right. And what you might get out of something, somebody else might go, silly, but you might really speak to you.
Oh my God. A painting I have in my gym is like that. My friend Rachel she does a lot of art, and she painted during lockdown in Melbourne. So she's in Melbourne. And she painted this art piece just randomly with her boyfriend. They were just doing some arts and crafts. And so she did this art and she posted up on Instagram. And I saw it in her story. I was like, it really resonated with me. And it was like a female features, but then there was just colors all through the mind, and there was no eyes. It was just all colors, and it was like chaos but beautiful. And I was like, holy moly, I need to own this. And then I kind of like, she then posted it on her Instagram page, and I said, yo, can I buy this? And then I did, and now it's in the studio.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when I look at that, it's infinite, because the mind just opens up. And it's like, that's why art is so powerful. Is like, you might think that your artwork, like, this is for the artists listening, you might think your art doesn't have meaning, but it does. Someone's going to find that piece of art on Etsy, they're going to buy it, and they're going to probably frame it and put it in their room, and then look at it and be like, if that person's been able to put their art on Etsy, I'm going to do it. Little did they know that you doubted every single shred of yourself to put it up there. But they're going to find motivation in that.
Yeah.
So if people are finding motivation and inspiration in you, be inspired by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. And then with those art creation processes, you could say, look, I'm creating this for myself. Like, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I want it to be like this, and this is the message that I'm getting from it. And then it's like, whatever it is, whether it's a painting, whether it's a workout, whether it's a design of something, or a new product, or a business. And it's like, this is for me first. I want it to be like this, because that's the message and the feeling that I get from it.
Yeah.
Emotional response is for me first. And then it's like, others might also get that same feeling, or get something else from it as well. And that's what is so empowering with watching, say, cinema, or listening to certain music, where it's like, people say, what sort of music do you like? And I always say stuff that I can get an emotional reaction from.
Yes.
Whether it's sad, whether it's to pump you up, or whether it's to, a story or whatever throughout the lyrics, or it's quite clever. But those are the things that I enjoy the most, because it's like, you can feel something. You get a reward for having experienced it, whether you're looking at it, you're listening to it, you're doing it, whatever it is. It's like, those are the moments that are rewarding, because you could tell the difference between somebody who's painted by the numbers to put out a certain amount of pictures that are exactly the right thing, and it's like, yeah, that's boring. Or they've put their heart and soul into something, and it's a circle.
Yeah.
But it's like,
but it's a damn good circle.
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
They were like, I had it exact. They can tell you the story of why it's important to them.
Oh my God, man. I drew a freaking ice cream for one of the designs because I didn't want, seriously laugh about it, because I didn't want to spend $2 on Etsy for it. I was like, I'm going to make this mine.
Yeah.
So we drew an ice cream from scratch, like making this. So when you said circles, I was like,
oh yeah, you showed me this picture, didn't you?
Yeah, the little ice cream dude.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm going to make my own ice cream, because it's like, I just that person.
Yeah.
But the thing is, now I was like, I'm so proud of that ice cream.
Well, yeah, because you would have looked at other people's stuff and gone,
And
that's
now
not
I'm like-
right. That's not what I wanted.
Now I'm like, yo, I made this ice cream. So if that person's going to put out a circle and be proud of it, I'm going to put out an ice cream and be proud of it.
That's the difference. People
Graphic
can be
designers, I have so much respect for.
Oh, absolutely.
my God.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's
They
a
are
skill.
the underpaid heroes of the world.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But when somebody looks at a result, whatever it is, and they say, I want that exact thing, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, you're not going to be able to replicate somebody else's experience, talent, feeling, moments, and effort that went into creating whatever it was. And rather than trying to replicate what they did, find your own thing, and you can be inspired by what they do. And for me, like with fitness, it's like, I will take inspiration from everywhere and anywhere. It's like somebody that's working hard. It's like, I'm going to work harder than that. Or, somebody that, say you watch a movie and it makes you like, I'm going to go to the gym. And
Yeah.
that's, you know, and so, but it's not, I'm trying to be that character. I'm not trying to get that exact result they got, but I'm doing it in my own way to get my own reward.
You find inspiration in what's relative to you and to what you need to keep you up. And like people say motivation's bullshit and inspiration's absolutely not. Like they are so important. If it inspires you to get up, awesome. If it motivates you, awesome. But underlining to all of that, you have to be dedicated. But like what you said about the music before, if it provokes emotion, you know, because then that's like, you're like, you can push that extra limit.
Yeah.
Like if I'm lifting, it's like a certain style of music. Sometimes it changes. But then when I'm like doing something that I need to be meditative in and get through a really hard set, it's like symphonic orchestral music.
Doom soundtrack.
It's like, what one? What soundtrack?
Doom.
The Doom soundtrack, that's intense. Like doing cardio to like the Interstellar soundtrack or like, oh my God, I did, so you know Hans Zimmer, the composer, there's all, he did the live Hans Zimmer experience, right?
Wow.
And they recorded it and it's up on Spotify. So it's Hans Zimmer live and it's all his like most memorable pieces. But there's he does the Dark Knight trilogy and it opens up with like the Joker theme, then goes into the Batman theme and then into like the chaos of like Dark Knight Rises with like Bane and just the way that hits, I'm just like, I listen to that when I'm on the set, I'm like, yes. And then if I'm really starting to fall behind, I'll put on the Wonder Woman soundtrack because like the story behind how even music is made, you know, like it's an electric cellist. It's not a guitar, it's an electric cellist. And I just like, I find so much inspiration in the way that, you know, that musical art is made. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, why don't I just do this with my own life? And so then you just visualize to epic music your own life and then you're standing in it. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, become the hero of your own movie.
Exactly. Oh. If you want to be Batman, be Batman. You know what's funny, actually? I wanted a stormtrooper outfit ages ago. Yeah. And I applied, I think it was called the 501st. I emailed them. And I sent them my measurements. They're like, cool. What are your measurements so we can make your armor? And I was like, sweet. Here you go. Their email reply back was, you are actually too short to be a stormtrooper. And I was like, oh, wait, have you not seen Star Wars?
Yeah.
You know how, Matthew, you're too short, aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper? You know when Princess Leia, when Luke saves...
Oh, yes. No.
Oh, my God.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Oh. You're talking of one of 9 movies, but yeah, that's fine.
You know, like, you're a little too short to be a stormtrooper. Anyway, it's funny.
That was great. Sorry.
Yeah, so
I thought that you were saying that they couldn't
make it because I was too little.
Okay. All right.
Because I was too short to be a stormtrooper.
So make your own.
No, I didn't. I made that instead.
All right.
But like, no.
Sorry, I ruined the joke.
Man, the joke is so good. Star Wars nerds love it.
Oh, God. I tell a joke that no one gets all the time.
That's like such a good nerd joke.
That's a good one. Now that I've got it.
It died. It's dead.
I like your face looking at me expectantly. Like...
I was like, this is so funny. You're too short to be a stormtrooper. Yeah. It's like, oh my God. But great. Now they're a little bit more inclusive in the sizing, so that's okay. But I was just like, I just never forget getting that email and be like, I'm too short. What? I'm a stormtrooper, so...
Yeah, I guess you got to meet. Well, in terms of what they would be doing as a manufacturing business, they would just have like hundreds of the costs. Pretty similar sizings.
And that's what this is. This is a resin cast helmet by his name. Oh my God, Pinsky Props. He was a guy over in the US. He was like the main maker of these things, and like they just make them and pop them up on Etsy. And me and Dad painted it up. Like this thing has been through hell and back. And I needed a visor for in the helmet. And this is why talking about your goals and stuff is so cool. Is that I took it to, I think it was the Yamaha store in the city. And I took it in and it hadn't been painted yet. And I said, hey, I need a visor for in this. And these like, all these guys suddenly congregated around the helmet and they're like, they gave me that visor for free because it was so cool.
All right.
Yeah. Cool. It was really, really cool. Just because I was talking about how I was making the Dread outfit, the Anderson one. And one guy was a massive Anderson fan, and he was like, "You never see females wanting to costume in that sort of stuff."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
So
well, she's a badass chick.
she is so. If you haven't watched Dread,
not
it's
the
so good.
Stallone version.
No, the Carl Urban.
The classic Stallone version.
But it's such a great movie. Like, even when you think about like how she had to climb the floors, and she's the one that ended up winning.
I'm just thinking of Stallone jokes. That's all right. I was just thinking of Stallone.
Give me one.
No, that
Is
his
it really?
script-
Is it a bad dad joke?
No.
Oh.
I'm just thinking his script must have been like a lot of like, you know, the way they've written it. Thank you guys for watching. It's the Daily Combat Podcast here with Natalie Stone. Your Instagram handles again.
Nat Strong Hobbit. No, it's Nat Strong Hobbit or Stone Strength PT for the business page.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.